This is a manga I've been putting off for quite some time. I've actually wanted to read it, never had time to. And then I'm on this roll of like, whatever the hell this video format is. And here we are, Vinland Saga. This first chapter is 86 pages. And what I can remember from this seinen, because it's seinen, is that it is a very tragic tale that is basically meant to show you good, bad, and the ugly of a character who's supposed to be the hero, but in reality, as reality is, morality isn't as black and white as it may seem in other various shows. I still like the difference between shonen and shonen, obviously the adult targeted audience difference as well, but also like the more willingness in being able to dive into the nuances of very like specific questions such as that, right? Such as, should you kill a person, yes or no, or why is it okay in this circumstance, but on this one? And even if it is okay, are you still gonna be able to live with it, etc., etc., etc. Just like those little things, right? There's more examples of that just as well. For example, living with PTSD, actually having to deal with the death of a parent, being a soldier. A lot of things go on in Asana, and this one in particular, from what I remember reading, like again, 3 years ago, a lot of them strike up this way. Also, I do find it funny how this is another manga I read like years ago. Now I'm rereading it, but like screaming about it, so very funny. But yeah, let's without further ado, let's go ahead and get into Vinland Saga. All right, let's go ahead and get her going. In the first panel, we're in war with the 11th century. So I actually want to look that up. I know we just started this, and this is going to be a constant theme, but what weaponry were they using in the 11th century? Okay, so we have here a spearhead, arrows, whips. That whips? Why don't they use? I guess if you can use whatever you got, I guess, right? About a knife. Basically, there's no firearms I'm looking at here. Like just a lot of swords, daggers, blunt objects, hammers, whatever they can grab their hands on and sharpen to a point. And if I remember correctly, 11th century. When was it? That's not the Bronze Era, is it? Whatever. I'm not a historian, but regardless, dealing with this very specific era and time period. They had crossbows? Damn. If I remember correctly, weren't Vikings known to... I remember reading this in Bible class in my Christian college, when armies would pillage a village and there was a thought of people trying to uprise back, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, or even trying to manifest what the army didn't really take fully control of and try to fight back after they take control. They would just burn down all the farm, the agriculture, like destroy all the water, whatever, and then just like go through all the women. And it's reminiscent of how they went through in this instance, because they're saying we're just going to wait them out. It's going to be snow, it's going to be cold, they can't leave, and they need imports of other goods that aren't exclusively there in their specific area, because that's how trade works. You can't exclusively live off of your corn and beans and expect to make a living off that, because you can sell corn and beans too in your country made of corn and beans. Some to other people, but they also have corn and beans. So you have to sell to other people who don't have them, so you can make more money in return, either exchanging their goods, like bartering, right? So that's like the main source of income for these people who got raided here. So since they got raided, now no income coming in, they can't really leave. They have the threat of all of their women and children just being redacted in front of their eyes. They're potentially going to get burned down with the village as well. The army doesn't leave and it's going to snow. They are screwed. So them breaking down the fortress is a horrible worst case scenario. It's the equivalent of like a nuke dropping. And actually, that's not that bad. But it's basically the equivalent of like having electricity shut off for like a city and you can't leave. So what's not that equivalent, but it's close enough. It's close enough. So it seemed like they left because, like I mentioned before, if they can just leave, basically starve them out and attack them again, they'll be weaker and they'll eventually just give up. This looks like the biggest clan around. I can practically smell the treasure from here. Aha, you want to join the attackers? Yeah, though, will be much more rewarding. I'm not looking for some cheap reward. We're gonna bust open those treasure chests and take all we got. Well then, Thorfinn, you're up. And here is our boy. Our main man. Look how menacing he looks. Oh, he looks like he went through hell. It looks like he saw Guts' childhood unfold before him and was forced to keep living his life. It is insane. Looks like he watched the entire conflict of Claymore. Like a span of like 3 milliseconds. I don't know, that face is so despairing. He's like 12 years old at this point, if I remember correctly. 12 or 14, if I remember correctly. Okay, so he's gonna send Thorfinn as a courier for this message. Warfare is pitiful. Oh, he's going to basically saying, hey, you can't gritty away when you have victory this close. Again, you can't reference my last video. Kemba Walker the 3 when it hasn't even gone in yet. So why are you leaving? Just finish the job. Or get it finished close enough. You don't have to wait for them to starve out. Make sure that they are guaranteed to starve out. So next time you do come, it's just an easy clap 4-0 sweep. And for the tough task of going into enemy territory or presumed enemy territory, he gets 3 gold coins. I don't know how much that's worth of the 11th century, but I don't think it's worth potentially dying to even give a message out 3 gold coins. Like, he could literally just die giving a message. That's crazy to me. Exactly. That's what I was saying. This is funny. I like Thorfinn. He's witty. He's very quick. He knows he needs those 3 coins and whatever Asklid was offering him on top of that, supplementary wise. So he's like, hey, all right, man, shoot. I know it seems impossible. I know you can't get any ships nearby. I know you can't get any extra fortification. But hey, you know, if you deny a request for taking half of your spoils of the war, we can just kill you guys next time you fight. Since I know your plans and you just told me all your weaknesses. So either, you know, we take 50% or we take your whole life. That is funny though. This little gremlin goblin football head Stewie looking up. Is this Stewie from Family Guy? Is that a Family Guy reference? I do find it interesting how, again, this Stewie Griffin Humpty Dumpty looking dude is just casually just like, yeah, you know, whatever. We'll be able to control them once we win the war. I feel like he don't understand what he just said there, right? While, again, the right decision was to accept them as being allies, why would they just be okay with 50% once it's all said and done? And also, why would you honor that once it's all said and done? You outnumber them. So they think you're going to lower the amount you're going to give them, so they're just going to usurp that and just take over you guys too. The best of both worlds. They get the defenseless village out the way and their resources, and we get the strong army who was deemed an enemy strong enough that we have to potentially ally with them. And my brain is working here. I feel like a genius. So I feel like Asklad is not going to give up on the easy dub, and whoever he sees as the easier opponent to overtake, that's who he's going to overtake. Now, not necessarily the moral route, even though technically it is the moral route to help the defenseless village. You don't know what that village is doing. That village could be like egregiously evil as well. So you have 2 options here. I forget what's going to happen, but we either have the option of fully going, hey, you know what? We're going to do my original plan. What I think they're going to do is join them, flatline the village, and then overtake people we help flatline the village, and then have all the riches disposed to ourselves in all this land. Or do a 180, snitch to the village that's getting franked on, the Frank Kingdom, right? Snitch to Frank Kingdom, tell them all the strategies that the opposing forces who are, it doesn't say what country they're from, their affiliation. I'll just call them the eggheads. Yeah, the eggheads be fun. Okay, so yeah, those are the 2 plans. Like, they're gonna side the eggheads and then take them over, or snitch on the eggheads to the Frank Kingdom and then become their good side, become their kings, and then eventually just push out all of those who aren't Asklad's group. Regardless, Asklad is an easy dub here because I think they have the higher hand, the upper hand. Let's see what goes down. Bro, why's your mouth so god big? The water. Oh. No, the Frank Kingdom is getting overrun. No. Oh my lord, look at this panel. Look how small this egghead is, dude. Why is he like fatter in every panel? Come on, man. Asklad's crew is on the way. Now, oh, I see what they did. Because like I mentioned before, the only way you could bring ships to attack this village is head on. Because everywhere around, there's a disadvantageous route to go. Either there's a waterfall, or either the river is flowing the opposite direction you need to go, so therefore making it woefully impossible given the 11th century technology, or there's just a ginormous waterfall you can't even scale up, because again, 11th century technology. I don't even know if you can scale up waterfalls of a boat nowadays, but let's just assume you can't, and they can't back then as well. So their main plan now is to bring the ships on the land with pure manpower. Oh, there. Okay, so if I remember correctly, people fell off the bridges once boiling water got on them. So there must be a bridge they're attacking to attack the fortress. So therefore, there's water on the other side, so they're still attacking the fortress. Oh, okay, I had to understand it for my sake because I kind of got confused for a second. Yep, here's a bridge. Okay, Thorfinn, we get it. You're the main character. You ain't gotta do all this. This is a bit OP, man. We don't even know if we have powers in the universe yet. He's already like given like a Zion Williamson 360 no scope jump right here. Oh, so it's not that they necessarily are weaker on this side the way Asplit was planning. They more or less. So I love analogies. It's like my favorite thing to do. So basically, they have a weaker side. The weaker side where they know their opponents are going to attack. However, the best way to attack there is with a smaller unit because again, it is very shallow water. You have to go around the front way in the first place. So you have to basically have a decoy to distract people from the behind, which is the weakest spot. So what the Frank Kingdom is doing is sending their snipers out there, just scopers, the people with a beam, and taking care of the nonsense. However, I don't think that'll be enough. Look at my boy Thorfinn. But I can feel his fear just eeping into my soul. Look how quick the panels are coming to your face. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, slice. Oh, he chucked the hatchet, and he got it back. The boomerang. Oh no, he didn't get it back. Oh, okay. I thought this one right here was the hatchet, but no, he just threw it. So it is like I thought. Actually, wait, no. My prediction from 3 years ago, it's still waiting out. I don't know what's gonna happen yet. Now you're starting to think of them thinking about victory. Now you're starting to understand that every single decision double-edged sword. Now you're starting to put this in this situation. See, this is the problem, man. If you have too much of an ego, you can't even think of a possibility of you failing or you being usurped at all until it's about to happen, which then is too late because people already have contingency plans on usurping you when you think of the moment at the apex of your happiness or victory or whatever, right? Well, hey, I just... Oh, so they didn't even need to attack the Frank eggheads over here. They just swiped the village. I like this. I like this option, actually. And he brought the head of the general, just like he promised. Thorfinn, son of Thor, warrior of Iceland. Upon my father, I seek a duel with Askeladd. You know what's funny? Oh, okay, I thought you said rival. Yeah, you can't be a rival with somebody if the other person's dead. That's not how rivalry works. But arch enemy makes sense, because, like, you know, the death, obviously, right? Right. Wow, that was chapter 1. Beautiful. Very beautiful. I look forward to actually reading more of this. It's actually phenomenal. What do I think about this? Well, given how the prediction I got was 93% correct, they didn't necessarily kill the Frank royalty noblemen, Frank eggheads, that were being helped by them. They did calm them over, right? They did pull the wool over, right? Because obviously Egghead over here didn't think for 30 seconds that, oh, what are they gonna do once they realize that their victory means we're gonna have to share treasure, which I don't wanna do because I'm trying to take over this kingdom for myself. I don't wanna share treasure with somebody because I'm trying to steal somebody else's treasure to begin with. Does that make any sense? Like, isn't it saying there's no honor amongst thieves or something like that? Also, on top of that, he didn't get any other confirmation other than this random kid who looked like he's 40 billion years old on steroids compared to the egghead. And then the moment he gets confirmation is when the overwhelming force comes behind him on ships that they carried by hand through the fortress. Like, there is no way you're negotiating with those people, let alone overpowering them, let alone pulling the wool over their eyes. That's just not possible. So I love it. I love it all. Now, obviously, the only part I'm actually interested in is why is Thorfinn so powerful? A lot of questions here we have to ask. Not too many in the sense of like it ruins the manga or the story in general, but more along the lines of like I wanted to invest myself more into it. Obviously, this is like a very good first chapter because you have more questions to ask. You can just get them answered by reading further on. Now, if I remember correctly, we get a flashback of his father 3 or 4 chapters in to explain like why he was so hell-bent on getting the head of the general to make sure Askeladd respects his duel that was directly from his father, who Askeladd eventually kills. A lot going on. And I must say, change of pace, pretty nice. You know, something I can agree with, and just move. That's chapter 1, baby. 83 pages down the drain, or up the waterfall, right? Or... All right. tonight, baby, on chapter 2 of Vinland Saga. Man, I'm loving this, man. I haven't read a manga I loved in quite some time, actually. The last manga I read that I actually genuinely was involved with, that I thought was like above an 8, above a 7 even. I gotta think, it's been a minute. Probably Chainsaw Man, right? That'd be the last one I read. That's been like months. Oh my, because I've been rereading stuff. I've been rereading D Gray Man. I'm trying to reread Monster now, and then Claymore I just finished like a couple months ago, so I've been on a manga binge, but here we are, brother, doing the do. This year, I didn't even think about that logistically. So if they already have a homeland as Viking, that means that's their profession. So I guess, again, my analogies are beautiful here. I make the best analogies. It would be like if truckers had to stay on the road and do all the deliveries with never going home, which I don't know how trucker schedules are, but I know some of them drive for like 24 hours with like 10-hour breaks or something like that. So it's very similar to it. So they're back. It's been a year, and they have to bond with the family, bond with the ladies. You know, hoorah, hoorah. I guess that makes sense. Slavery really didn't fall out of fashion like what? The 20th century? Well, I mean traditional slavery. Like in a sense of like everyone has one in their house type shit. Like doing their own like chores and labor type beat. And like current day like child slavery. We have Thorfinn getting his promised duel against Askeladd. And what I just brought up there previously was basically Gorm, their treasurer, I assume their money accountant guy, was, speaking logistics with Askeladd. He's like, hey man, we gotta reap a profit off of all this expenditures. We can't keep writing off all these expenses. Askeladd's like, yes we can. I'm gonna just keep balling. And hey, they may look a lot more extravagant than that, obviously. Why is he working for the man that killed his father? That's a great question, random lady. Or a girl, I guess. Oh, did he attack his guard? Where he's holding the sword, therefore forcing him to let it go? Because he attacked with this arm here. Come on. Oh, okay. One of the side commenters mentioned, oh wow, Thorfinn looks really calm and collected here. Oh my god, the patience, amazing. And Askeladd turned on the charm. He turned on that whimsical rhetoric. And he turned into, well, let's just say a Hall of Fame prostigator. Instigator. Hall of Fame instigator. And he snapped his arm out of location. I don't really get it. If I had to live without pride, I'd just kill him. So up to this point, we're gonna find out that yes, my theory was true. Askeladd planned all this just to enrage Thorfinn, just so he loses again, and just so he's indebted to Askeladd for another venture, because Thorfinn wants his fight fair and square. He believed because his father instilled pride and the true meaning of what a warrior means in him, he still has to honor that and follow that. He's like still in teenage years. Obviously, his father died when he was young, so well. And because the only way he can fully honor his father is by killing Askeladd in a fair duel, there is only one way he can do it. And if Askeladd just happens to cheese his way through every single duel, different environment, make him mad, postpone it, whatever he can do to win the duel, it'll get to a point where Thorfinn will either have to just realize that he's gonna play the whole time, which is gonna be forever, he's like 12 years old, or just eventually just kill him whenever he sees fit. But I doubt he's gonna do the latter, mainly because he didn't seem like the type he'd do that in the first place, because if he was to do that in the first place, he would have done it by now. And he's stuck in the former, and he will continuously 1v1 duel until the end of it. See his father out here? Like while he's hallucinating, and he always kills a slave for trying to give him food. That's very funny. This moment here basically tells us that he acknowledges and knows that he's really being emotional, he's sulking, he really shouldn't be like this. But at the same time, he can't help it because he's conflicted with the pride in him instilled by his father. 10 years ago, we're gonna see the flashback. We're gonna see a Thorfinn flashback, the same flashback that put Thorfinn in Askeladd's hands. If I remember correctly, I think they got pillaged, if I remember correctly, right? So the true land, basically the Niflheim of this mythology, this universe, is called Vinland. So the one peaceful afterlife paradise that those who are in unfortunate situations seek after is Vinland. Overall phenomenal.